parts that started peacefully. It usually is the initial plan to start peacefully. And then there's the and then moment. Something happens. Boom. It is hijacked, as they say, by hoodlums. Or maybe protesters become hoodlums. 08179230002. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Sam, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Analyst. I'm calling from Inkoro.
Right, yeah.
Follow you. I love what they are doing, but they should please calm down. Not to scatter anything again. I will not tag their names. Please. Commission police have warned. They're calling federal government are calling on army to come out. So they will not be injured. Not to protest very well.
Okay.
Please, I'm begging them. Thank you very much. God bless you. From Inkoro.
Okay, thank you very much, Ida. I believe I've reconnected with a good doctor. Good morning, Dr. Isaac.
Good morning, sir. More opportunity.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm great, too. Thank you. Good morning, Rivers people.
Good morning to you. I'm sure they can hear and they respond. So, Doctor, who has the responsibility of enlightening protesters about their conduct? Because it's possible that it may be a question of ignorance. We had someone who said that protesters in a particular part of the country were not enlightened enough to understand how this thing should happen. So who has the job of enlightening protesters about conduct of protests?
Sam, let me build my foundation so that we can have a very tight discussion.
All right.
Every protester is from a family.
What?
Yes. Every protest.
Oh my.
Visible or invisible, but they all came from the family.
Oh, family. Okay.
Now, and every family is located in either a village, like in Nigerian setting, and they dwell in towns. All right?
Mm.
And one thing is that we are all members of the same society. I'm using the word in the actual sense, society. We live in the society.
Okay.
So to start with, in our early days in school, I remember when we were taught socialization, we were told that one responsibility of the family is to educate its members. So to start with, the family has a responsibility to educate and enlighten every member on three major issues. First, because the family has to take you through that responsibility of introducing you to a school system where you learn morals, where you are also educated, and above all, where you can actually synchronize with the norms of the society. So the point I'm making here is this. Our enlightenment begins from the family by way of socialization.
Okay.
So every family should have a curriculum, but ironically, most families don't even know the meaning of curriculum. I'm much more talking about enlightenment. It is the responsibility of the family to educate a child that government is, the main institution of the state, that rules and regulations should be made. But when you disagree with government, there are procedures that you must take. So to a very large extent, a level of illiteracy in this part of the world is hampering that particular aspect. So you graduate from the family into the school system.
Okay, Doctor.
There is no...
I'm glad you started with family because you said begins with.
Yes.
That means you're moving on to other players.
Agents of socialization.
Yes, indeed. We have a break coming up. That's an agent of how things work in this studio. After the commercial, we will continue. Please stay with us, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
will do what it needs to maintain law and order. I hope I'm able to play this now. Earlier, one of the supporters of the protest in Port Harcourt, Keobaba, a comedian, said that the protest will stay peaceful. Okay. My guest, who is still on the phone, Dr. Isaac Uwadiunor, is an academic and a public affairs analyst. He was answering questions and he stated that it begins with family. Hopefully it moves to other agents. You're welcome once again, Doctor.
Thank you, Samara. Thank you, Rivers people.
Thank you, sir. All right, please go ahead.
Yes, the second agent of socialization is the school.
Okay.
But I'm going to actually marry it alongside with the peer group and the social institution like the church.
Okay.
Now, we all went to school, whichever cadre, whether nursery, primary, secondary school, or perhaps the university. The school has a responsibility to teach you civic education. And part of what is taught in civic education is that government is the main institution of the state.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an academic field of learning. So what it entails is that we have a responsibility to the state, and the state has obligations to the citizens. That is where the idea of the social contract theory comes in. When government fails to do what it's supposed to do, the citizens are supposed to react.
Yeah.
But the reaction is a function of the approach the government has adopted. That is what is taught in schools. And then we also have other institutions like the church, and allied institutions like that, where they come in softly and they begin to persuade us by way of saying, this is what the society expectations about you. Apostle Paul in the book of Romans chapter 13, he said that everybody must subject himself to the government. There is a condition attached to it. When the government is failing, Apostle Paul educates that we should actually pray for government, which most people are doing. Now, in reality, the responsibility of educating the citizen lies with the government. Government has a responsibility to educate the citizen. That is why there is a constitution. And so in most institutions like that, you see something like National Orientation Agency, which is an aspect of the Ministry of Information in every state, and then they have their sub in the local government. From time to time, they are actually supposed to enlighten the citizens on the programs and policies of government from time to time. But what we find in this part of the world is that ever since somebody like Jerry Ghana left that place by way of Mamsa, National Registration Agency has actually gone into coma. Nothing is happening. When you talk to them, they say government is not funding this. But they're supposed to be the vanguard of government policy. So they educate the citizens on what their rights are. Before you now talk about, humanitarian groups, maybe legal groups, human rights groups that also tell you what you're supposed to do. So the point I'm making here is that the idea of enlightening the citizen is all-encompassing. It has to go through this network. When it now fails, you now know that the society has not done its job. I guess this is a simple way of analyzing that.
Okay, I'm certain the NOA officials will beg to differ. I particularly had the state director right here in the studio with me talking about these protests, and he, of course, emphasized the need for peaceful conduct. He had granted interviews to our correspondents, from time to time. So I'm stating, to the extent of my knowledge, how far I have seen them act in the capacity of the right sensitization. Again, I'm not speaking for the anyway, but like I said, they'll obviously.
The fact that they sensitize the citizen about their rights. What I'm saying is that the general education of the citizens actually lie with the Ministry of Information, of which NOA is part of the agency of government. But on the issue of protest, no state government, please, I stand to be corrected, that has actually taken it upon itself to educate the citizens on protest. The reason is that they feel that protest is a way of showing that they are anti-government. Even the person in the studio can actually attest to that. There's no place. I've been in River State for close to 20 years. I've not seen them educating the citizens of River State on protest, the procedure for protest, and what should be the modus operandi for protest. I've not seen it. I stand to be corrected.
Well, you know that, again, sometimes it might be reactionary. Stating, having an enlightenment campaign on protest in particular, that might not be a campaign that will run on its own. But that education can come on the heels of other programs. It could be attached. I know that the media plays its part. I know that law enforcement, they find ways from time to time to react to calls for protest and then reminds citizens about the need to be peaceful. Religious institutions, if and when they can. Who else? The NGOs, the civil society space, they all in some way, shape or form remind people about the need to conduct themselves lawfully and peacefully. But my next question is going to be political. Is there a place for political parties? Because you know that protests usually come with airing of grievances and dissatisfaction. So if you have Party A in power and people are protesting some conditions, naturally the opposition use that as an opportunity to criticize that government. So how can they oppose, criticize without inciting?
Well, Sam, I think some years ago when I did my MA in Uniport, I did something on democracy and party politics in Nigeria.
Okay.
And it was, an enlightening process for me as a person. First and foremost, we must look at the nature of politics and partying in Africa, and especially with respect to Nigeria. Now, our idea of political party here is, first and foremost, party is an opportunity for you to demonstrate that you are in power, which is different from what political parties are supposed to be. Political parties are institutions, they are agencies whose interest is to contest and win elections by making known to the public their manifestos, which is their working document.
Okay.
Now, if Party A, for instance, is in power, the onus is on Party A to prove their mettle by showing to the citizen that this is what is contained in our contract with you, which is the manifesto, and they follow it to the letter. But what you find in Africa is that when a party comes to power, the first thing it does is to kill that idea of enlightening the public on what their role should be. All they want is that they want sheepish followership, and then they begin to bribe citizens to see to it that whether they are doing well or not. And they add an ethnic dimension to it. Now, when the ethnic dimension is not working, they will put a religious connotation to it. Before you know what is happening, there's a complex problem. And then you now see that there's a crisis in the society. The opposition now capitalize on the weaknesses of that particular political party because it's a contest, and a positive contest, competitive, to begin to differentiate what Party A is not doing so well that they intend to do. That's when you see a shadow government. So the best way to run parties in Africa, in my own submission, as far as that work is concerned, is that political parties should be magnanimous enough in their victory and should be willing to accommodate all shades of interest and run a government, of consensus, not necessarily a party government. By so doing, you'll be able to whittle down the influence of the opposition by way of criticism. What you now see is that you see a cooperative and collaborative system of party. That's what democracy is all about. If you follow the definition of Karl Menahem, he said that democracy is a party is an aspect of compromise where all parties compromise in order for the states to move forward. That's what it's supposed to be. And that is what African political party has not been able to do. My reference here goes to the work of one of your sons here, Claudi Ake, where he wrote an article some years ago. Is Africa really democratizing? I think that piece of article is what everybody should read in time like this. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Isaac. That question happened because this morning on the newspaper review, most of the reactions were, APC, PDP, even though the conversation was protest. I'll have to name characters here because it's already in the news. Tony Okocha alleged that the governor of the state had a hand in sponsoring some of the protesters to attack, their party and all of that. And while that is something that would naturally stir reactions in a political environment like River State, it was reduced to a political conversation. It became APC, PDP. Instead of focusing on the conversation, which is the conduct of protesters who looted, burnt, and attacked. And so it's my concern usually is towards party people. When a PDP person criticizes an APC person for some policy which might be anti-people, why is the conversation reduced to politics? All of a sudden, we now see party instead of the message. So that's kind of why that question happened.
Okay. Well, my reaction to it is this. I want to believe that the response of Tony Okocha, with all sense of humility, is a diversionary approach to the issue on ground. The reason is that, one, there's been issues of clashes, of interest between APC and PDP, and of which everybody is running away from. Perhaps his response is a way of telling you that we are still here as APC, so that you will know that we are on ground. But the real issue is about hunger. The real issue is about, starvation. The real issue is that the people cannot put food on their table. The real issue is that you cannot transport yourself out. What the two political parties should have done is to find a meeting ground on how to tame their followers, especially the ones that are in support of the government at the center, which is APC, should tame their followers. And that is where I fall in love with the eastern part of Nigeria. Most of the states in the eastern part of Nigeria have decided to stand aloof and watch. This is what I expect people from APC to do because they are the government in power. Then for the PDP, I don't think the governor of the state, having gone through a lot of trauma for this number of months that he has been in power for 14 months, will want anything that will upset his government. Because what he said on the very first day of the demonstration is that please don't destroy Rivers property. So let us take away politics from the issue involved and look at how we can address the issue of hunger. Maybe we might provide a blueprint for them on what to do to address hunger in Rivers State. Rivers State is a stellar bowl of resources, but none is utilized. This is my submission this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Isaac, for your thoughts.
Thank you.
This is as far as we can go. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Right, word of Dr. Isaac Uwadiunor is an academic and public affairs analyst answering important questions connected to these protests. Now, the question for you, as a citizen, I happen to believe you are, what role do you believe that you play in maintaining peace during these protests? For those smashing windshields, locking shops, harassing business people, and doing everything that does not align with peaceful conduct of protest, that does not align with a peaceful assembly which the Constitution provides. What is the place for personal responsibility? What steps can we take to ensure that these protests remain peaceful and focused on the issues at hand, which is hunger? 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. We're live on Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch as you listen and drop your comments on those platforms. I need to repeat the question. I do this because I expect an answer in response to this question. As a citizen, what role do you play in maintaining peace during these protests? Thank you very much. Kwikigam from Rumelamini. Good morning.
Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
Tom, I listened to your guest this morning.
That's the plan.
The government have a contract with me. I have a contract with the government too. It's a two-faced knife. That what I have I'm going to do for government, and government has one to do for me. Sam, in protest, before this time, if the government is proactive, what should they have done before the protest kicks off? They have started advising Nigerians what and what, and letting us. This bit of information, they will start enlightening us what to do and what our right and as that. So most of us have no Nigerian constitution in their hands. They have not read it before. So it's the government to tell one the red line and the white line where to reach and where not to reach. So it's both of government too. For the party to be involved, party is an avenue to get to win the election and have a manifesto to do. But for me, what Dr. Kocha did is not the right thing he did. Remember the day the protest started, the governor addressed the protesters, please don't put Rivers State on fire. There's enemy that want to make Rivers State to be on fire. So please, I beg the protesters, beg them that day that every Nigerian law for Dr. Kocha to want to drag the governor into this protest. That's just my problem. Not
okay. Kwikigam. Now Kwikigam, back to the question. What is your responsibility to maintain peaceful conduct in this election? In this protest.
To my own. It's to enlighten people, to tell them to shun violence. Because that's just what shun violence. That's my position.
All right, thank you very much.
What is going on? I want to beg Rivers people, please, don't get any violence to do. Go and protest to demand your rights. Because it is hunger that causes this protest. For me now, I'm hungry. I'm sitting in my house. I'm hungry. I'm not taking my breakfast. This is 9 o'clock. I'm not taking a cup of coffee. Before, by this time, I'm taking a cup of coffee. By this time, I'm taking this 10 o'clock. So please, Rivers people, Nigerians, This process, go on the street of the road to demand end to bad governance. Three, don't vandalize any person's property. Don't want people to join you. Go on the street of the transport and tell the governor.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you shouldn't call people out to protest. They will if they want to, but it's important to maintain peace. JJ from Rumigbo, good morning.
Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
Sam.
Yep.
My answer to your question is exactly what I'm doing right now.
Which is?
I have told people, I'm using Nigeria Info as a medium to put the narrative that no matter if you follow how something describes you, you may not know when you wound yourself at the end of the day. Sam, have you seen where somewhere in your body is itching you, and you keep touching it, and before you know it, blood begins to come out? So for me, I think the protest should end now. But Sam, like your guest has said, yes, I agree with him. But in addition, if you've been to any of the IOC's construction sites before you start work, right, you must do what they call two-boss meeting or pep talk, where the topic or the issues of the work will be discussed. The safety officer will come, tell you the safety implication, the engineer will come, tell you how this whole thing goes, and you now know the dangers involved. Sam, you know what happened? Many a times, some of those people that didn't attend that two-boss meeting are not allowed to work because they are like a near miss or an injury waiting to happen. And many a times, they are always the ones that are injured.
Okay.
Now that we said the protest is peaceful, why can't the National Orientation Agency go there and address them? Oh, you want to go through water lines? You want to go through this? Please, on the right, you enter GRA. On the left, you enter the other side of GRA. Please don't touch anybody's property. You see that if you address these people, they will follow the address. If any person that was not part of that pep talk or two-boss meeting comes, he will not fit in.
Okay.
They will not sit here as they are working.
All right.
You already know the people you address. Is it not about to register your grievances and all those? Oh, we don't do this. You don't even know who is heading the protest. I don't get it at all. So, sir, for me, if they can do a little pep talk before they move to wherever they want to go to, I was lucky yesterday that my windshield was not shattered. Why do we go this way, for goodness sake? So, for me, I am advising that it's enough. It's enough. Let's wait for the government reaction. The governor has addressed that. The president has also said something. Maybe we change his mind this time, but we shouldn't destroy things.
Thank you, JJ.
My windshield, you know how much the windscreen now.
Thank you. I have no idea.
Thank you. And
I hope I don't get to find out. Ken from Ubimini, good morning.
Good morning, SOC.
Good morning.
SOC, I don't know if you understand that from the first day of this protest to the fifth day was perfectly peaceful.
Okay.
Will you be aware or convinced that hailing the governor and the River State government for a peaceful protest from the first day and the fifth day has been a kind of jealous and comfortable situation for the opposition?
Oh my goodness.
Specifically, Tony Okocha.
Are you kidding me right now, Ken?
Who did not come to criticize those who shot dynamite and other violence during the month, especially when there is a health center care program and other ones in Ominelu and other local government areas. He did not antagonize or condemn those incidents, because the governor now has been credited for the peaceful atmosphere in the River State. This is the way he wants to
Ken.
The image of the River State government.
Now let's get to personal responsibility. What role do you play?
I had already played a role of cautioning my siblings' relations. Even I don't even want any of them to move out for security purpose.
How many siblings do you have, Ken? How many siblings do you have?
To be careful. Thank you very much. That's the Ken Ojon. I'm calling from Ubumi.
Okay. Ken just sounded like he read a press statement and he's done and he's gone. Miriam from Okrika, good morning.
Hi, Sammy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Look, Sammy, first question is, what are we doing to keep the peace?
Yes, indeed.
For me, Sammy, just to carry leaves around. Make sure I hold a green leaf. If you're driving, you put it on your car. Then if you're walking, just hold it. Yesterday, even in the market, I went to the market yesterday, everybody was holding green leaf.
Yeah.
If you don't have green leaf anywhere, just buy 10 or 100 naira ugu leaves and hold it. And it's so small. Trust me, it is very small, very tiny.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing, just to keep the peace on our part. But only it is so unfortunate that we have government that are so only reactive. They are not proactive. Government at all levels, federal, state, local government, all our agencies, security agencies, they are not proactive at all. Very far, constant electricity, would have doused a little bit this protest. If you give people constant power, from the time they planned it, they gave you notice, up to now, you will see that it would have doused as a little bit curtailed it to a bit. But they are not proactive at all. They did nothing to control it. The only thing they were saying was that it was a faceless protest. Faceless. Okay, even if it was faceless, but give us an opportunity for government agencies to appoint persons to take charge of this protest in all the states, and tell them that, okay, we want to protest, okay, and this person, this unit, this person be in charge, this person. Now you're calling for who are the leaders. When they told you, that they were not leaders, this is an opportunity for you to appoint leaders.
Okay.
Our government agencies, they don't think, they don't know how to manage our resources, they don't even know how to manage an ordinary protest. They are the reason why this thing has escalated to this point. And let me see what they will do to fulfill it.
Okay, Mariel.
Only reaction is they don't know how to try to stop something. It is so painful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariel. And Mayor calls from Egbelu. Good morning, Mayor.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, my role, first of all, will be aligning with the advice of the governor.
Okay.
When he addressed the protesters to be peaceful, knowing that there are enemies of the state. It has been peaceful for the past 5 days. Violence is being experienced, and a factional leader of the APC coming out to say what he said. It will bring us to note that he has nothing to offer except violence. At this time in the country, when everybody is standing up as bad governance, a person that represents a party cannot hold the grounds of the people, but comes up with instigating statements. I wonder what he has to offer and how reasonable his speeches are on radio and his positions. So please, people should disregard his call or his utterances because they have nothing to offer to the state.
Okay.
And I would advise that this protest should remain peaceful for the remaining days.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I align with your last statement. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Therefore, those who embark on any form of protest need no form of education because the right to peaceful assembly is never absolute. Tony Anthony, I understand the point, but I believe education is always important. Democracy should benefit the common man. Politicians should not be the beneficiary of democracy. My role is to enlighten Nigerians to register their grievance with government, but not destroy innocent people's property. I'm down to my final seconds, actually. Let's see, can something happen from Facebook? Eric says, what happens if the government doesn't know what to do? Talk less of educating the public. That's a big question that requires a big answer. Well, thank you for being a part of the Morning Crossfire. It is important that you conduct yourself peacefully if you intend to be a part of the protest. It's very, very important. Coming up at 9 is the news around the world. After that, it's Hello Port Harcourt with Jude. Thanks for staying with us. Have a beautiful day.